Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Regan and I am a photographer. Today we are in my home studio because we're doing something very fun. We are recreating the Selena Gomez Rare Beauty marketing campaign photos. When I saw these photos, I absolutely fell in love. They are gorgeous and I knew that I wanted to learn how they were lit so that I could use those in my own shoots. And that's why we're recreating them today. If this is your first time hearing about Rare Beauty, this is Selena Gomez's makeup line that launched in early September. She started creating this 2 years ago, and I think it's interesting because she wanted to combine beauty and mental health. So a portion of all the proceeds go to the Rare Impact Foundation, which helps provide mental health services to underserved communities. I personally haven't gotten my hands on any yet, but I'm dying to try some of the products. All right, let's get into shooting. Anytime I'm trying to recreate a picture, I try to find source images and really analyze them before I start. This is super important if you want to recreate pictures accurately. So first thing I always look at is the eyes. In this photo you can see there is a catch light and it is from above. And it's on the top of the eye, so it's most likely pointing downward onto her. If the catch light was over here, it would be about even, or if the catch light was below, the light would be lower than her face. So this tells us that at least there is one light facing in front of her and pointed downward. Now this becomes a little confusing when we zoom out because we can start to look at the highlights and the shadows on her face. So you'll see on the top of her forehead here, we have a lighter portion of skin. And then as we get closer to the chin, the skin gets darker and more shadowed. So this tells us that there's probably a light on the right side of the photo. So my guess is there's at least 2 lights on set. We have a larger light on the right side of the picture, and then what's called a fill light in front of her and above to fill in and soften some of the shadows so it's less contrasty. All right, the hard part is done. I've done my makeup, I've done my hair to the best of my ability. I'm not a beauty guru. So now it's time to start shooting. If you wanna know the specific gear that I'm using, make sure to check the link in my description box. I forgot the words. Okay, let's do this. I'm setting up in a corner of my studio. What I'm gonna do is put a drop cloth from painting on top of this apple box because I don't have a chair to match the image. I'm plugging this orange cord into my camera so that I can take pictures directly with my computer and see them immediately. I'm using a software called Capture One because I can put an overlay on the live view so that I can try to pose as closely as possible to Selena's actual picture. I'm not really happy with how this photo turned out. The lighting was really challenging for me. I just couldn't get it right. I felt like I definitely needed one above me, but then when I did that, it was too bright and it made the image too flat. And then the pose, oh my God, the pose. I do not know how she got her shoulder to like bend and curve like that. What I ended up doing is just using the liquify morph tool to bend my shoulder to match. This was okay. It was a good learning experience for a photograph, but I definitely don't really like this one, to be honest. That's okay. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, but it's really through experimentation that we learn what works and what doesn't, and how we get better and how we improve. That's been truly my whole journey with photography. It's just trying something new. It works or it doesn't work. try something a little different. It works or it doesn't work. And you know, eventually you get closer and closer to what you want to achieve. So let's move to the next one. Okay, let's jump into the second photo that we're gonna try to recreate today. This looks like a very similar lighting setup. Once again, we have highlights on this side, moving towards shadows on this side of the face, which tells me, kind of like we saw in the video, we probably have a big light over here pointing towards her. But let's zoom into the eye, and it's kind of hard to see because her eyes are a little bit shut in this picture, but we still have that catch light, which tells me there's probably a light behind the photographer pointing down at her, acting as a fill light. And remember that fill light softens these shadows so they're not as dark and better match the highlights over here on the right side. We'll try our best to recreate this. I had a lot of problems with the last picture, so we'll try our best.
For this one, I used basically the same setup that I ended with on the last photo, but I also brought in a black reflector on my left side so that I had more shadows on that side of my face to match the original image. This one went really, really quickly, and I'm excited for you to see the final result.
Do you love it or do you love it? I am really, really happy with how this one turned out. The biggest challenge I had with this one was getting the facial expression right. She and I have very different face shapes. I have a pretty large forehead and hers is much smaller. So in her picture, her head is tilted down or up a little bit. It's the opposite of what mine is. I ended up moving my light all the way to the side, and what I did is I set up a V-flat, which is just two large white panels that are taped together, and then I shot a light into it. I shot a white umbrella into that. It bounces out and then comes back and hits me. And then when I first started doing that, I noticed that there wasn't enough of a shadow on one side of my face. So that's when I brought out this black reflector or black deflector, because black absorbs light. So by adding this closely next to my face, I created a nice little shadow on that side. So that worked out really, really well. I was feeling pretty down after shooting that first one. That did not turn out well. So I'm happy. I'm very excited going into the next picture. Okay, let's take a look at our very last photo for today, another very cute and fun one. And the lighting to me in this one is very interesting. You zoom in on her eyes and you can really get a good read this time. So right here, we have a big square. And this tells me that this is a square softbox filling in any shadows. And now we finally get a better look at the light on the right side. So either this is a light or a reflector or a V-flat, I'm not quite sure, but this definitely shows us that we have light coming in this way, as we suspected from the highlight on her face over here compared to the shadow. We know we definitely have light coming this way into the frame. But the fill light is super, super, super evident on this one in a way that it hasn't been in other ones. And note that it's not as high on her eye as it usually is. Now it's a little bit lower. The last one went pretty well. I'm hoping, since this one is somewhat similar and the eyes are pretty easy to read, that this one will be much easier to recreate.
With this next setup, I wanted to try using natural light rather than artificial studio lighting. So I took down my studio equipment and I planned to shoot around the late morning and midday so that I'd have enough sunlight coming in through the window. I created a fill light by setting up a small flash on a light stand with a 40-something inch octabox. This acts as a fill light and puts just a little bit of light into the shadows of my face so that they are less contrasty from the window outside. I played around a little bit with my distance next to the window. I moved forward and back until I got the right amount of light in my eyes and across my face. My cat also did his best work on this photo, and he really did a great job helping me by taking some photos here and there.
The last photo. Regan, Selena, are we the same person? No, we're not. Okay, this one's gotta be my favorite. The styling with the red lip and the parted hair is really chic on the other ones, but this one is probably most similar to my everyday look, except for I never look this glam. I feel like I look at this picture and I'm like, who is that girl? Ooh, she's so pretty. I wanna meet her. I wanna be her best friend. And then I'm like, oh, that is me. I'm that girl. So I absolutely love how this one turned out. It's more natural than the other ones, of course. I liked my makeup a little bit better in this one. I'm not a makeup artist, so I tried my best. And you'll notice in the before and after that when I'm editing in Photoshop, I do tend to put some makeup on myself. C'est la vie, you gotta work with the skills and with the makeup you got at home, but I don't really have a ton of makeup skills, so I try my best and then I make corrections in Photoshop. Which, if you'd like to see how I retouch and edit photos, let me know in the comments and I might edit one of these into a YouTube video for you as well. I'm really gonna take this lighting setup into future shoots. I'd never really thought of putting that large light on the left, and you know, it was really cool in that last photo that I was able to balance both artificial and natural light, because that's something I've struggled with before and I haven't been able to successfully execute. So this, I learned a new skill today. I love it. And I'll definitely be taking that into future shoots. Which, speaking of future shoots, if you'd like to see more of these videos, this is like my favorite thing to do. This is how I learned studio lighting and photography and basically everything. As I see these setups that I like on Instagram, I save them and then I try to recreate them on my own. And I love it. So if you want to see more, let me know. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like it, give it a thumbs up, because that lets me know and kind of judge what to make more of. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you want to see more videos, check this one out, or you might like this one too. See you next time. Bye guys.